Hello, welcome to Trainer Certification. In this video, we are going to discuss the concepts that are built into MA training, but will only come to light with you. By the end of this training, we will learn what training concepts are built into training and how you as a trainer can lean into those concepts for more success. And of course, we'll share some tips and tricks along the way. If these concepts are already built into training to support you, then why does it matter that you understand? Well, it's because these presentations are going to guide you, but your awareness is really going to elevate the training to the next level. 3 days is an incredibly short amount of time to learn a lot of information and skills. And your ability to focus on what matters is going to do a lot to lower our new friend's anxiety. Lastly, the most important thing that we can teach any new hire is problem solving. Working with these training concepts will empower you to empower them to problem solve. And that's going to let them get on their feet a lot sooner and support the studio. Let's review the concepts that we're going to be working with. 1 and 2 are very similar. We are moving chronologically. First, we're moving chronologically through a day in the life of a member. And then later on in days 2 and 3, we're moving chronologically from the journey from a lead to a member. And we have a really heavy focus on Orange Theory Fitness's unique values. Fourth, when we learn technology, we are going to learn it as a system and a tool using exploration first. And then we'll get into the tasks once they have a really good understanding of how to use that system as a tool. Lastly, we're going to KISS. We're going to keep it simple, superstar. And as part of that, we're going to break down larger tasks into their smaller parts and spend lots of time role playing those smaller parts, those smaller skills again and again and again. Okay, let's start with this chronology. Why is it important that we're starting from the beginning to the end? Well, first, let's take a little peek at training. Here's an example of a slide in the presentation. We can see that we start at the very top when most members will book a class, and we go through a day in the life. They come in possibly 30 minutes early. We have lobby life. They take class, maybe they take a shower, and then they head out. Each one of those bullet points has important tasks and moments in it that our MAs need to understand. A really similar thing happens when we train from the top and go down, when we really understand where a lead is born and all the bullet points that happen along the way to their VIP experience. And when we get to day 3 and we're looking at sales, we can see what happens when the coach gives that fitscription all the way through objections. And we'll never forget about retention. We'll discuss cancellations, freezes, and really the concepts that underlie retention through these bullet points. And you see at the bottom, we tell the MA we'll go over your role in each step of the process so you can enjoy your time building community with our members. So how does it help to move chronologically? It helps learners know where they are in space and time. Instead of picking out a task here and a task there, we're really solidifying them and saying, hey, we are at this point in the process. They're not a lead anymore, they're a guest now. And we move from guest to member. We move from member to win back in some situations. So this chronology helps them know where they are in space and time, and it helps you as a trainer best describe, here is what we're doing and here's why we're doing it. Which leads into the second point. Learners then understand how their role and tasks impact business at multiple touch points. When we learn about leads, they understand that they're impacting book rate. When they learn about sales, they understand that they're impacting close. And when we learn about retention, we're impacting that as well. So they're more likely to feel confident in understanding the tasks behind their role and why what they do matters. It's not just a checklist, it's part of a larger picture. So, how do you show up with this concept? Well, first, you can anchor the moment. Name where you are before you start teaching. You're teaching through the member's eyes, which helps solidify that time and space. Those slides that we reviewed, you're going to see them a lot. So don't skip over them. Realign yourself. And train in sequence. Train what makes sense right now. We also know that you're training in a live and functioning and moving studio. So do train what makes sense and do acknowledge questions. We love when a learner has questions. It shows that they're engaged. If the question makes sense in the moment, answer it. If it doesn't make sense in the moment, acknowledge the question. Even pop back to another slide and say, hey, that's a great question. This is going to happen a few bullet points down. So let's kind of finish what we're talking about now, and we'll get there in just a little bit. Lastly, realign often. Pause and reset when learners drift. Part of this training, learning how to use things as a tool, really breaking down tasks, showing a larger picture, ideally will mean that a lot of questions are going to happen. Feel free to pause and reset when people drift, and definitely make sure to call out those business and member outcomes that are happening due to an MA's roles and their tasks. Okay, let's take a look. This is a really exciting part. Orange Theory Fitness's unique values and our client profiles. Here's an example of a slide where we can see our little spot point and our unique value at the bottom. Throughout training, you're going to see this unique value indicator at the bottom of the slide. That is going to help solidify the why behind everything. So in this case, our unique value is Orange Theory Fitness's boutique fitness concept, that it creates a home for our members. They come for fitness support, motivation, and wellness. We're going to see that one all the time. During the cleaning, we're going to see that one. All these tasks are really centered around these unique values. So, how does this help? How does this center around these unique values help you as a trainer? Well, our unique values are not inherent. They only exist when, first, people are aware of them, and second, they actually do tasks and communicate and engage in behaviors that create those values. Those values are created every day in every moment with every task. So when you as a trainer really emphasize, I don't want you to just go through the cleaning list, understand why you're engaging in this. And also understanding our client base and what they need from us allows us to teach our learners to understand how and why connection matters. Get out from behind that desk into lobby life. Not because you're going to be assessed or graded or scored on that, but because connection matters. The result is our learners really start to understand why each individual task matters, and they begin to connect their behaviors and tasks to impact. So, how does this show up for you as a trainer? Name that value every time it comes up on the slide, even if you know it belongs there and it maybe isn't on the slide. Name that value. That is the why, that's the foundation behind everything. Make sure that you hit that before naming the task. We're going to ignite passion in our work when we can start to understand why everything is important. When we're talking about Jess and Maya and our ideal clients, we want to match the profile and know that we're adjusting the language, not the expectations. Orange Theory Fitness holds value for all of our members. Right now, when we talk about those ideal clients, we're learning how to find what a member needs and how to match those needs. And then we want to refine that belonging, show how values bring trust. In the same way that we at Maverick have values as an organization that's essential to your trust, our members need OTF values to build trust with them. All right, let's hop into talking about technology and how we're going to learn how to use systems through exploration. Okay, here's a peek at a slide that you're going to see. And here we're learning about customer service basics. And we're talking about members may call in for a variety of reasons. And the first step is helping everyone understand what MBO is. And as you can see with the little orange circles, we are just going through the classes tab and we're learning what happens when I click into sign in a client, what happens when I type someone's name in there, what happens when I type the camera, what happens when I push that X, what happens when I push buy, does that automatically charge someone something? All of these things you're going to go over first with an MA before we even talk about tasks. First, it's going to take a lot of fear away from the technology in the system and pushing the wrong button and making a mistake because we have clicked every button on the screen. We're not going to make a mistake now. And second, having a full understanding allows us to give a task and then step back and give the opportunity for that MA to then problem solve. Learners are definitely going to feel more comfortable exploring and understanding the system as a whole. And they are going to become faster and more independent when they understand that MBO, for example, is a tool, just like Orange Book is a tool. So they're going to feel more confident in problem solving within the system. And this is really going to lead to a lot less panic, a lot more problem solving. It's going to make everyone's life so much easier. So, how does this show up for you? First, set a goal. Tell them what they're solving for. If we are learning how to book a class, first of all, we've already gone over all of MBO. So tell them in advance, hey, the goal here is we are going to learn how to book a class. And then let them learn and explore. Maybe the first thing that they'll do is click on classes because that's what they heard you say, and they have already clicked all over the place in MBO. That's problem solving. That's exactly what we're looking for. Second, explore even more. Like explore before you explain. Even if you get a question, let them know, hey, I'm going to give you some space and I'm going to stand back here. Let me know if you need my help and then wait. Even if it's for an uncomfortably long amount of time, wait. And then normalize mistakes. Confusion, mistakes, questions, all of these are indicators that actual learning is happening. More learning happens through failure than it does through the lack of failure. When we don't fail, we only learn to do the thing that we did well. But when we failed, we not only learned how to do something well, but we learned what was wrong as well. Dual learning happening there. Okay, let's dive into our last concept, our KISS concept. Keep it simple, superstar. Here's an example of a slide, a few slides. We're going to role play more. A member calls in, they want to know if they're signed up for class. Great. So we give you these prompting role plays so that you can really break down piece by piece what we're looking at. And you'll see also on day 3, when we go into sales, that the intro process is so huge and it feels so overwhelming for a new hire that we really break that down. And we stop and we say, hey, we're doing a studio tour. Let's stop. Let's actually practice that studio tour again and again and again. So you're not just hitting it one time over the course of the full intro process. You've given that studio tour now 3 or 4 or 5 times, and now you're less stressed about it. Not only are we less stressed when we are practicing the individual parts, but we have the opportunity to learn why each part is important. That studio tour is important. The amenities that we offer, that home away from home, is part of our unique value. So it is really important. And as much as we as trainers maybe want to focus on the actual sales process or the first visit card, that studio tour is just as important. And the training is broken down in such a way that you can strive to help them understand that importance. Secondly, learners and you can more easily see where they have opportunities and where you can give them more support. So if they're nailing the studio tour, we don't need to spend a whole lot of time on that. If they're struggling with the first visit card, we can spend more time on that. And you have the opportunity to see this broken down. As a result, the learners continue to learn and understand why details are important, and they're less overwhelmed by the process as a whole because they have felt the pieces of the process over and over again. So, how does this show up for you? Break it down. Focus on one skill at a time. And this is where you come in as a fantastic trainer. Assess your learner. Are they doing a great job? Great, let's carry on. Are they struggling? Let's practice more. You get to make that decision and that assessment real time. If I'm doing a great job on the first visit card, because I love fitness and I love talking to people, that's amazing. If I'm really struggling on the handoff to the coach, is that a 30-second period of time? Yeah. But is it really important? Yes. So pause there and break that down. Secondly, do it live. If you are role playing phone calls, go into the office, call the studio from your cell phone. The act of an MA picking up the phone, even though they know it's just you on the other line, the act of picking up the phone, having the phone in one hand, trying to type in your phone number to MBO with their other hand is inherently stressful, but you are a safe place for them. So put them into high stress situations in a low risk environment. You are the low risk environment. So practice live as often as you can. Same thing, if you're leaving voicemails, have the learner call from the studio and leave a message on their own phone and then listen to it. No one likes hearing their own voice, but we're going to do it. And do it as often as you can. And then practice immediately. The training will break down the skills for you. So make sure that not only are you following along and you're assessing, but we don't have a lot of long gaps between learning and doing. The presentation isn't going to be the thing that teaches. You talking about it and actually doing it with them is going to be the thing that teaches. So, as we wrap up, consider that while we've designed training around these concepts, we've only done that to support you because you will be the reason that these training concepts work, not the presentation itself. Ultimately, at the end of the day, the learner needs you to continually assess if they need more or less support at any given point in the training. Use the presentation as a resource. Know that those concepts are built in so you can give that MA the best training possible. And as part of the process, if you could take this quick knowledge check for us, we would appreciate it. And thank you for watching the video. If you have any feedback, please feel free to reach out to the T&D team. Thanks for watching. Okay.